Hello, dear students of class 4. I am Vidya Rani, your English teacher. Children, welcome back to the third part of Chapter 1, Be Prepared, written by Ruskin Bond. Now, before children, we start with the third part, let us quickly recapitulate what we had done in the second part. That was in the last video of mine. Like children, those scout boys who were told to track Mr. Oliver, they did not track him and they got busy playing in the pool of clear water. They enjoyed there, and after they felt hungry, they returned back to the camp and prepared the same very dish, that was Bond Bhujia, with little bit of variation in that. After that, when Mr. Oliver did not find these children, he returned with great anger and asked all the children, when he returned back to the tent, asked all the children to return the badges what he had given. And after that, with anger, he said Bond to prepare the dinner for him. But Bond said that since the badges were taken away, he cannot prepare the dish. And then Mr. Oliver realized and returned back the badge. Now, after that, let us continue, children. In the third part, I will be explaining you the rest of the story. Put your fingers, children, where I am reading. Mr. Oliver returned to his tent in a huff. Mr. Oliver returned back to the tent with great anger. In huff means what? With a great anger, he returned back to the tent. Okay? Because the boys did not follow his instructions. That is why he got angry. But I relented and made him a grand omelette, garnishing it with dandelion leaves and a chili. Now, Bond now realized, finally, he accepted that when Mr. Oliver had returned back his badge, he should prepare dinner for Mr. Oliver. So, he agreed to do something what he had told not to do. Like he had told that he will not prepare dinner for Mr. Oliver. But now he agreed to prepare dinner for Mr. Oliver, and he prepared a grand omelette. Okay? And garnished it with dandelion leaves, a type of leaf. The omelette was garnished at the top. Okay? And with a chili also there on the top. Okay? So it was a grand omelette. Okay? Now put your fingers, children, where I am reading. Never had such an omelette before, Mr. Oliver said. Now Mr. Oliver was very happy to have that omelette. And he never had such kind of omelette what Bond had prepared. So he said that, wow, this omelette is tasting very nice. I never had in my life such kind of omelette. Would you like another, sir? Now, Bond was happy when he got praises from Mr. Oliver, and he asked Mr. Oliver that, sir, would you like to have another? Will I prepare another for you? Tomorrow, Bond, tomorrow. We will breakfast early morning. Now he said that tomorrow I will have another omelette. Not now. We will breakfast early in the morning. We will have our breakfast. But we had to break up our camp in early hours of next morning. And now, in early hours of next morning, like very early, they had to break up their camp. They have to break their camp and return back to the school as per Mr. Oliver's instruction. Now turn the page, children. Put your fingers where I am reading. A bear had wandered into our camp. Now, a bear got inside the camp in which these children were living, entered the tent where our stores were kept, and created havoc with all our provisions, even rolling our biggest deckchee down the hillside. Now, in the tent, a bear entered. It came from the forest. Since the tent was made in the forest, children, it came from the forest. A bear entered the camp, and where the stores were kept, where everything was kept for their eating materials were kept, it created a havoc. Okay? Great destruction was made by that bear. All ups and downs were made by the bear. It removed everything and just entered into the camp. With all our provisions, all the food supplies, whatever were kept, it messed everything in the tent. And even that big deckchee which these children used to cook food in, that the bear rolled it down the hillside. In the confusion and uproar that followed, the bear entered Mr. Oliver's tent. Our scoutmaster was already outside, luckily. Now all the confusion created by bear, it entered and it created a havoc there. All destruction with the food supplies, whatever was kept, it was all messed up, and this bear entered whose camp? Mr. Oliver's tent it entered. But when it entered, this bear entered, luckily Mr. Oliver was not in the tent. If Mr. Oliver would have been there, children, that bear would have harmed Mr. Oliver. But luckily he was not there and came out entangled in his dressing gown. And when that bear came out of Mr. Oliver's tent, it came out in the dressing gown what Mr. Oliver used to wear. It then made off towards the forest and came out entangled in that dressing gown and the bear made itself walked towards the forest with that Mr. Oliver's gown. It then made off towards the forest, a comical sight in its borrowed clothes. Borrowed means what, children? Taken. That was the cloth of Mr. Oliver, which the bear was entangled. So it got entangled into that, and with the borrowed cloth, it went to the forest, giving a comical sight. It made everyone laugh at that bear. The children started laughing at that bear and thought, though we were a troop of brave little scouts, we thought it better to let the bear keep its gown. Now, here Bond is telling that although we were very brave scout boys, but we never tried to take that cloth from that bear. We let that bear go with that cloth to the forest. Okay, children, here we come to the end of the story. Hope you enjoyed reading this story. Children, please go through this story. Please read it. Okay? I will be catching you up in the next session. Till then, children, take care. Bye.